Thank you so much for having me. So excited to be here today.
Thank you for joining us, Eric. I know, as always, that you've got a wonderful session planned. So, without any further ado, I will push your slide deck out to the stream so everyone can see, and I'll drop into the background and join you after its no doubt inspirational delivery.
Excellent. Thank you so very much. Well, hey, folks, thank you so much for joining me today. It's a privilege to be part of MoteCon and share some neat ideas with you here today. A little bit of housekeeping before we dive on in. The first thing is I want to make sure everybody can get to the resources for this session. So you'll see on the screen there a bit.ly link that will get you to a Google document that has all of the resources we're going to be taking a look at here. That is bit.ly/Curts-Soundboard. That will take you to a document that looks like this. So if you're winding up in that document, you are in the correct place. That document has all of the resources, all of the steps, all of the stuff we're going to be exploring during this session. You are certainly welcome to bookmark that or add it to your drive or even make a copy of it, whatever works best for you. Again, bit.ly/Curts-Soundboard will get you to that resource. While you're taking a moment to get that pulled up, I'll do a very brief introduction. So again, howdy everybody. My name is Eric Curts. This is my 31st year in education. Started off as a middle school math teacher, taught middle school math for 7 years before moving into a role as a tech integration specialist, which is what I've been doing ever since. For my day job, I work at a regional service center here in Northeast Ohio. And then on the side, I am a Google certified trainer and innovator. And I run the website controlaltachieve.com. Definitely encourage you to check out the site if you haven't been there before, haven't been there recently. I share loads and loads and loads of resources on the blog with hundreds of blog posts going back for several years, as well as training videos and templates and projects and news and updates and all kinds of great things there. I also try to stay active on Twitter and YouTube if you prefer to connect that way as well. And probably one of the easiest things to do is just to sign up for my email newsletter. I try to send that out periodically to keep you in the loop on anything new that I've posted and any new resources I've come across. You can get to that newsletter on the Control Alt Achieve site, or you can go to bit.ly/Curts-news to get to that page and sign up for that newsletter. Awesome. Well, so that's a little bit about me. Let's talk about what we're doing here, though, today. So for this session, we're going to be talking about creating a soundboard and doing that for your class, doing that in Google Slides and taking advantage of Mote to help us with that. So the plan for the session is going to be to take a look at an example soundboard and then basically spend the rest of our time building one, showing you how to do this step by step. We'll create a slideshow. We'll use Mote to be able to add our voice to it, so that can be part of the soundboard, but also show how you could use some of the wonderful free sites that are out there for sound effects that you could add as well. We'll then show how to publish that slideshow so it's very easy to access later on, and then how to use that soundboard. So that's the plan for our time here together. If you haven't gotten to the resources yet, one last plug for that, bit.ly/Curts-Soundboard, and that will get you where you need to be. All right, fantastic. Well, let's go ahead and get on into this. And if you do have questions, we will be keeping an eye on those as we go through the session. I do have a second monitor open to the side here as well, and I'll do my best to keep an eye on the questions, but anything I miss, I know John will corral that for me and pass those questions on. Fantastic. All right, so first thing first, what are we talking about when we are saying a class soundboard? So what I mean by that in this case is a Google slideshow that has audio built into it, so that if you were needing to in class at any point, you could very easily just click on the audio buttons and have some sound effects or some content readily available, some audio content that you could play right away at any point that you need it. So let's take a look at one. Now, you guys can do the same while I am showing this in the agenda document. If you scroll down to the section on example slide, or excuse me, example soundboard, you will see a link to the published version, and this will allow you to try it out. I also have a link to the edit version if you prefer to make your own copy of the Eric Curts soundboard, so you can have me speak to you anytime you want. See, there you go. That would be fine too. So the published version will open up a full screen like this, and then the link for the edit version will actually open up so that you can see behind the scenes what's happening there. And you certainly are free to make a copy of that as well if you want. But let's take a look at how this would work. So basically, this is the published version of that soundboard. And so the first two rows at the top, I used Mote to record my voice and to add some comments that I, might share in a class. And again, it would be different for everybody depending upon what you're trying to accomplish, in your class, how you're using this. And then on the bottom row, I actually used some sound effects from some of the sound effects sites. I did not actually use my voice for those. Now, for any one of these, if I come up here and give a click on them, we can hear that. So we'll come up to this one.
Good job.
Hopefully that's coming through. I did share the audio, so I do hope that comes through. If not, let me know if the audio is not coming through. But we've got things like good job. We've got
nailed it.
Excellent.
Woohoo.
We got some applause here. And some laughter. Here's if I'm wondering about an answer somebody's given. And hopefully nobody is doing this one at the moment. Hope you're finding this more engaging. If I do make a mistake, though, of course, we've always got
wah, wah, wah.
But don't give up,
Try again.
Absolutely try again. Excellent.
Aw.
So all of those I recorded using Mote and my voice to add those into my soundboard there. And then on the bottom row, we've got some that are just sound effects from free sites, such as a ticking clock. There we go. Excellent. We've got crickets. And again, we're definitely not getting crickets in the chat. I'm seeing a lot of great comments in the chat, so that's fantastic. We've got a buzzer over here. And magic. And of course, what soundboard would be complete without an air horn? So what's cool is you can actually click on it multiple times if you want. There you go. Excellent. Fantastic. All right. So that's an example of what I mean. That's the kind of thing that we're going to be trying to create during this session. So now that you've seen what this is, and again, you can, through the agenda document, you can open up that published version as well as I said, like the edit version. So if you do want to make a copy of that, and then at any point, if you need Eric Curts to say, good job, you've got it. You can just click on that and I've got your back. I will be there to support you at any time. Excellent. Wonderful. Fantastic. All right. So let's keep on going. And the next thing, I guess probably a good thing to mention now that we've seen, what we're talking about with what a soundboard is what we might use these for. Now, I brainstormed a few ideas, but I would love to hear from you guys. So be thinking and throw into the chat. What might you use a class soundboard for? If you had something like that, and I would love to get some other creative ideas on this. I'm sure you're going to think of things I did not even think of with this. So please do throw those in the chat. Certainly I thought, for games and quizzes and competitions, if you're doing, a quiz in class or a game in class where the students are competing or, any kind of activity like that, that certainly makes a lot of sense. It would fit in well with that. I also thought classroom transitions, let's say there's some times where you want students to know time's up or clear your desk or it's time to switch groups or you need to line up or whatever the case might be, to have audio cues to go along with those classroom transitions. could be great for students to be able to associate those audio cues with things that they need to do in classroom management. Another thought I had was, what about if you're reading a story and you just want to have some enhancements for the story while you're reading it? So while you're reading a story to the students, you're able to click on that soundboard anytime you need to bring up things that go along with that particular story. So you could make a custom soundboard for the different stories that you read throughout the year. It doesn't even have to be a story. It could just be content that's being taught. If you've got sounds that support the content that you're being taught, having that at the ready. And then, of course, if you or your students are doing any kind of recording, if you're doing podcasts or, live videos, to be able to have a soundboard that can just pop up, sound effects or things during the podcast or during the live video. So nice to have that right there beside you. So anytime you need to pull that up, you would have it. So those are just a couple of ideas there that I have thrown in real quick. And again, I would love to, hear from you guys. And I do see, yes, oh, awesome. People are throwing some great things into the chat there. And that is wonderful. Thank you guys for all of your suggestions in there. I did see a question about the shared document again. So yeah, just as a reminder, if you do need to get to that, that's at bit.ly/Curts-soundboard. That will always get you to that shared resource document. All right, with that in mind, let's go ahead and start building one now. So now I'm not saying there's a right way to do this. I'm going to show you what I did to build mine. Please do this your own way. Take it and put your own spin on it. There's no right way to do this. This is just a possibility. So my thought was to create a Google slideshow and then use what I did was I used the table feature in Google Slides to be able to make a nice grid where I could drop in all of my different sounds. So if you're looking again at the published slideshow, you can see this is actually just a table there. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to open up a new tab and I'm going to create a new slideshow. So just slides.new, or you could go to, Google Drive and create a new slideshow there as well. Now I'm going to make this one really simple, so this will not look anywhere as pretty as the demo one I did. I'm just gonna let's just put in soundboard demo, and I'll put in my name here. We're not going to make this one all pretty. We're going to keep it pretty simple, but I just want to show you the mechanics behind this, and then you can add your own touch to it. So what I'm going to do in Google Slides is I've got my title slide here, and then I'm going to go up to the top left, click on the little down arrow next to the plus sign, and I want to add a new slide. So I'm just going to add in a blank slide here. And on this blank slide, that's where I'm going to build my soundboard. Now, like I mentioned to you, I used a table when I was doing it to kind of keep it organized. So if I go up to the insert menu and then I go down to table, I can then drag out to as big as I want. So I think I did like a 5x3 is what I did for that particular one, but you could make it the table whatever size you want. You could fit a whole bunch of, audio clips on one, depending on how large you want to make your table. I'll just do the same thing for this one, just 5x3 as an example. So there you go. So here's a nice simple 5x3 table. And then what I did was grab the corners and I stretched it out to fit onto the slide. So basically that's the idea. Now inside of this table, that's where I'm going to drop in, my text and my audio clips. Another thing I did do, though, just to make it a little bit easier for me to see things, is I decided to make my table borders a lot thicker. So if you do select the table, I went up to the border option, and I think I made them like maybe 16 point or 12 point. I don't remember, but I made them thicker so that it was easier to see the different boxes. And I think I changed the color of the border. And then on mine, I also believe I did some background color. I selected like the first row and I used the paint can button. And I think I made the first row green, and then I made the next row red, I believe. And then I think I made the next row blue. And so again, That's just an example. You could do this any way you want. There's no need for it to be the way I did it. And then lastly, we want to start typing in, the things we want to, put in here. So like if I did want to do good job, if I want to put that in there, I can start typing in those cells. And then I probably would select all of my cells and do a little formatting. I'd probably change, in this case, I'd probably change the text so that it was white so I could see it a little bit better, and probably bump up the size of the font, probably center things. And you get the idea. So that's the plan. That would kind of set the stage. And we could keep doing this. Got to go through the whole, and again, to save on time, I'm not going to fill out every square on here. We'll do a couple of them. But that's what I would do. I'd go through and start filling in all the squares just like I did here, where I had good job and nailed it and woohoo and so forth. Okay. Well, now that I've done that, let's talk about getting the audio into it. Okay. Well, we've got a couple of ways to do that. And one certainly is with Mote. Mote is a fantastic option for putting audio onto your slide. Now, we won't go through obviously the whole setup process here. The slideshow does, of course, have the link to install Mote and the steps to go through to get it set up. And to remind you, don't forget to pin it. It's always good to pin your extensions. But the point is, once you have the Mote extension installed, it's going to show up with a little Mote icon above your slide. And anytime you just want to click on that icon above your slide, it's going to pop up an option to be able to record your voice and then insert your recording right into the slide as a little speaker icon. So when we look at my demo that I did here, that's how I put all of these in here. So let's try that out. Let's say I want to do good job. Okay. So above my slide, there's the little Mote recorder icon above there. I'm going to give a click on that, and there's the Mote pop-up. So as soon as I click it, it starts recording right away. So just a little tip for you. If you click it and kind of pause a little bit and then start recording, when you then later go to play those, there'll always be that little pause in there, and you may not want that. Sometimes you just want to, you want that audio to go right away. So I have found that it does seem to start recording right away. So I try to speak as soon as I click on it. So let's do that.
Good job.
All right, so that should have recorded it. Let's hit play and hear it.
Good job.
Yeah, excellent. There it did. So I'm going to go ahead and click insert, give that a moment, and boop, boop, boop. It is now saving it and getting it onto my drive and shared and inserted. And there it is. There's the little speaker. And I can bring that speaker icon up here, and I can now go ahead and, make it bigger, because you want to make sure you can click on it. That's the last thing you want to do is when you're trying to run this later on with your students is, not being able to click on the button fast enough. So having it nice and big is great. So you can change that to whatever size is appropriate for you by grabbing the corners and dragging that out. Or you could click on it and go to the format options and then go to size and rotation, and you could set the size in there as well if you wanted it to be a very specific size. So whatever works best for you. And we could just keep on doing that. I think the other one I had was, me going, So we could throw in the and we could repeat the process. Come up here, click on the Mote icon, and then let's record that one. There we go. Let's make sure it picked that up okay. Looks good. We'll click insert and we'll drop that in. We'll give that a moment to put that in there. Awesome. And we'll drag that over and again, resize that to a size that you're happy with there. Awesome. Very good. Well, now, as much as I love Mote, and obviously I do because that's how I filled up the first two rows of this one here, we can also add audio from other sources, such as some free audio sites. And so in addition to recording your voice, and again, doesn't have to just be your voice. Remember, this could record, anybody's voice. It could be that you're having the students do some of these audio clips. And so that your soundboard isn't just your voice, but it's recordings of your students doing some of these things. That in itself could just be such a motivation. Not just that they're saying words, maybe they're, using their mouths to do some of these sounds even. And And so you're building your own audio clips completely from what the students are creating. So, whether you do it or the students do it, oh my gosh, you could have so much fun with that. By the way, I'm seeing some great suggestions in the chat. I'd love to hear from you guys. What would you put on your soundboard? And so you saw what I put on it. I've seen a couple of people throw some things in there, but I would love to hear. Go ahead and throw some ideas in the chat. What would you put? What would be some of the things on your soundboard that you would want to add? And we can pick up some great inspiration from you about phrases we should add or sound effects we should add. But let's talk real quick about if you did want to pull audio from somewhere else, where else could you pull it from? And so in the agenda document, I did include some great locations for some free sound effects. Pixabay, YouTube Studio, Mixkit, Freesound. So for example, let's say I head out to Pixabay. So Pixabay, typically we think of this as an image site. They've got pictures and clip art and so forth, but they also have a sound effects section. You can come in here and let's say I wanted an alarm going off. I could search for alarm and get all of these different alarm options. If you're looking for something short, you are able to go up to the duration box and say, I want something with a shorter duration, like 0 to 30 seconds, and say, okay, well, here's a 5-second clock alarm. Let's see if this sounds good. That sounds good to me. All right. So I can just click download and there it goes. It is now downloading that. And then I will be able to add that. And I'll show you how that works in just a second. Do have some other ones that you could investigate. For example, YouTube Studio. If you have a YouTube channel, you have access to YouTube Studio. And I'm not saying you have to have a channel with like videos even on it. Just as long as you go into YouTube and click on your icon and say that you want to have a channel, just click on your channel and allow it to set up a channel for you. Even if you don't post anything, as long as with your Google account you have a YouTube channel, you can access YouTube Studio. And so YouTube Studio is where you would find all of your videos. Now, this is not my actual YouTube account here. This is just a trainer account I'm using, so there's not anything on this account. But if you go to your YouTube Studio page, down the left-hand side, if you scroll to the very bottom of the left-hand side, there's a link for audio library. And in here, you will find loads of free music as well as sound effects. Awesome. So again, if I needed, I don't know if there's a good alarm here or not. We'll go ahead and just see if I search for an alarm. Yep, there we go. And so here I'm getting some alarms too. Let's see. Oh, that's a beeping alarm. Okay. And I can download those as well. Now, for what it's worth, when you do find things from Pixabay or from YouTube Studio, it is a little bit more complicated to add it to your slide than Mote. That's the thing I love about Mote. Oh my gosh. It is just click the button, do the recording, and that's it. It is so easy. So heads up, if you do get audio from somewhere else, to be able to add it into a Google slideshow, you do have to have it in your drive and you do have to have it shared so anybody can view it. So for example, if I headed over to my Google Drive here, and what I've done, I have created a folder called audio. And so that I made a specific folder that I call audio, and I've shared that entire folder. So anything I drop in there is already available for use. So if I right click on the audio folder in Drive and I go to share, you'll see that it says at the bottom, anyone with the link can view it. That's necessary. That's necessary for the audio files to be able to be played. But basically from here, I can now say, let's go to the new button and let's upload that audio clip. There's the alarm clock. So I could upload that clock alarm MP3 file. And now I could come back over here and say, let's add in an alarm. And now to put that in, it would be a matter of clicking insert audio. And that's going to let me go to my Google Drive. And in my Google Drive here, we'll take out the last search. Looks like I had done a search there before. There we go. There's the clock alarm that I just uploaded to my Google Drive. And that can get dropped in as well. And there we go. Again, drag that on over there, resize that as needed. And now we've got our alarm in there. So that's the idea of building it. The last thing that we want to talk about is how do we play it? Now we saw me doing that earlier where I pulled it up and I was able to play that real easily. How do we play it? Well, there's a couple of options here, but I think one of the easiest things to do is to publish your slideshow. Because here's the thing, if you are trying to use it in edit mode, the problem with edit mode is it doesn't fill up the whole screen. You've got all these extra, bars around here. Plus, if I just click on the big button, that doesn't make the audio play. If I click on the speaker, if I come over here and I click on it, if I click on it, that doesn't make it play. I have to not only click on it, but I have to click on the itty bitty teeny little play button there. Well, I don't want to have to do that. That's too much work to try to make sure I'm clicking in the right place when I am working with my students. So instead, if we publish the slideshow to the web, we will get a special link. And that's the link that opens it up full screen. And then you can just click on those wonderful speaker icons and don't have to worry about getting just right on that little teeny play icon instead. So how do you publish something to the web? Really simple. So all we have to do is click on the File menu, and then go down to Publish to the Web. It really is as simple as that. You click on the big Publish button here, say OK, and that's it. This is the link now you want to use. Anytime you want to play your soundboard, this is the link. We copy that link. You could bookmark it. You could, put it wherever is easy for you to get to. But now if I copy that link and I put it into a new tab, you'll see that my soundboard opens up full screen. And now if I click on the button, I don't have to go down to the teeny little button. I can just click right on the speaker icon.
Good job.
Or, or the alarm. There we go. Excellent. Very good. And that alarm is telling us we are getting close to the end of our time as well. But that would be my suggestion. And then with those published links, you can access those anytime you need. And also, just for a tip, you could add multiple slides here. Don't feel like you only need to have one slide with the soundboard. I could come in here and I could add another blank slide and I could build another soundboard there. So I could have one file. I wouldn't have to remember have bookmarks for 10 different published links. I could have one slideshow where each slide in here is a different soundboard for a different purpose that I'm going to be doing. All right. Well, we are getting close to the end of our time. So I want to do a couple things as we start to wrap up here. First of all, I want to say thank you guys so much just for letting me be a part of your learning. Thanks for being here. Thanks for all of the wonderful comments and suggestions that are in there. I do want to see if there are any questions, and I want to take those with the last little bit of time that we have. I also want to remind anybody who maybe missed it at the beginning that all the resources for this session can be found at bit.ly/Curts-soundboard. And that will get you to that Google document. I did see a question asking, would it be okay just to present the slideshow instead? You absolutely could do that without a doubt. I would just add one little thing on top of it. If I came here and I clicked on the slideshow and I hit present, hit the slideshow button, that's perfectly fine. Absolutely wonderful. I can click the buttons.
Good job.
The only thing that I lose when I do that is now it's filling the entire screen. And so if I'm trying to do this while I'm doing other things, like I want to be able to jump to another tab, I would just recommend you come down to the very bottom left-hand corner, click on the three dots with the navigation section and choose Exit Full Screen. If you choose Exit Full Screen, it'll pop that down into a tab. So absolutely, you could do it in presentation mode, but I would probably pop it down into a tab after that instead of being full screen. That way I just know I could always jump over to something else if I needed to. But that's a great question. Thanks for asking that. All right. Well, John, let me know if I missed anything. I tried to keep an eye over there, but I definitely could have missed some of the items that were popping up there.
No, Eric, just like Stephanie before you did a wonderful job of keeping an eye on all of not only the questions, but I know that those suggestions and the great ideas that we had coming in from the community about different ways that they could leverage the same ideas that you were sharing in your slide deck and maybe tweak for their own circumstances and how they could use with the learners. And of course, that's the fun of something like this, is where we're all inspired by you, Eric, and then taking that and being able to use it in our own classrooms and our own communities is